Okay, so today we're going to take all the parts that we know about fractions and mixed numbers, and now we're going to be adding and subtracting our mixed numbers. So let me just remind you, let me pull this down, sorry, the skill that we've already learned that we're going to be using with this. When we have a mixed number and we want to make it to a fraction bigger than 1. So the first thing that we think about is our whole. What is a whole? We know we use the denominator to help us. We have 2 of them, and they have 4 parts. So these 2, I'm going to write 4 fourths plus 4 fourths. So the 2 is changed into this. Then we have to add our last part, 1/4. And then we add our numerators. Remember, our denominator stays the same, which is 8, 9. So 2 and 1/4 is the equivalent of 9/4. So this is our thought. This is our work. This is our mixed number going to our fraction bigger than 1. Now we're going to go the opposite way. Now we're going to go with our fraction bigger than 1 to our mixed number. Now this one has to do with 3, our 3 wholes. So we can do 3, 4, 5, 6. We're trying to get to 13. 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12. I don't have enough left over, so I'm at 12. I need 1 more to get 13. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 is 13. So let me see how many wholes that is. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that equals 4 and 1/3. This is where some of you get confused. Make sure that whatever your beginning number is, you go to the other way on this side. So this is our fraction bigger than 1 to our mixed number, and our mixed number to our fraction bigger than 1. Okay, so now that we remember how to do that, I'll put that up here. Okay, so now let's talk about adding them. So here's our first problem. We're going to do 3 and 1/4 plus 4 and 2/4. So it's almost like 2 separate problems. You're going to add your fractions, and then we're going to add our whole numbers. So with our fractions, just like we write it with across, the denominator, as long as it's the same, we can add them, needs to come right down, because that does not change. The denominator does not change. So I'm just going to bring that down, and then I'm just going to concentrate on my numerators. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and then I add my whole numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7. Now, before I move on, I've got to make sure that this is not a fraction bigger than 1. So is that a fraction bigger than 1? Nope, because the 3 is smaller than the 4. Okay, if it's not a fraction bigger than 1, then we're done. Let's try another one. We're going to do 4 and 2/5 plus 1 and 6. No, we're not going to do 6. 1 and, I missed my thing. Sorry, friends. Oh, and my thing is broken, so we're going to just cross it out. We're going to do 3/5. Okay, same thing. Bring down your denominator. 2 plus 3 is 5. 4 plus 1 is 5. Now look at this one. What do we notice? What is that? That's one whole, isn't it? So this is actually 5 plus a 1, so my answer is 6. Now I'm done. We don't want to leave it like this. Okay, let's try one more adding before we go to subtracting. Okay, so let's do 2 and 5/8 plus 1 and 6/8. Same thing. Bring down your denominator because that's not going to change. Let's add our numerators. 6 plus 5 is 11. Let's add our whole number. All right, now we're looking at this. Is it a fraction bigger than 1? Yes, it is. So we have to come up here and do our think. So I'm gonna draw my arrow just so you can follow it. Okay. So I've got to change this to a mixed number because we don't leave it like a fraction bigger than 1. So I'm going to put this equal here. 11/8. We're trying to take it to a mixed number. So we have 8/8. Can I take out another whole? No, because we only have 3 left over. So 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is our thoughts. So that equals, what does that equal? That's 1 whole and 3/8. So 11/8 is the same as 1 whole and 3/8. So this is our thought. This is our work bubble. All right, so now down here we have to bring it back down now. We already have 3 wholes. Now we're adding it to the 1 and 3/8. This is what we got right here from up here. So because 1 and 3/8 is equivalent to 11/8. Now we can add our wholes again. 3 plus 1 is 4 and 3/8. So anytime that we have a fraction bigger than 1, we want to change it to a mixed number and then add it again. So we added here. We had a fraction bigger than 1, so then we changed it to a mixed number and added it again. So these are all 3 examples of our adding. So if it's a fraction that's not bigger than 1, we just leave it. If it gives us a whole, we just add that whole and change it. And then if it's a fraction bigger than 1, we have to change it to a mixed number and then add them again. So these are the 3 different ways that we're going to be practicing with addition today. Now let's take a quick look at subtraction. So it's the same rules with subtraction. So let me make sure I've got you. Let me grab my paper with my. Sorry, my friends, I thought I had it turned to the right page. And this is in your Go Math book on page 425 if you want to write it in there. We're going to use our first one. We're going to do 3 and 7/12 minus 2 and 5/12. Same thing as addition. Bring down your denominator. So this is 12ths. Then you take your numerator, so the 7 and the 5, and you subtract those. 7 minus 5 is 2. And then you have 3 minus 2 is 1. So it's like subtract the fraction, then subtract the whole number. Let's try one more. Let's do 4 and 2/3 minus 3 and 1/3. Okay, bring down your denominator. You want to subtract your numerators. So 2 minus 1 is 1, and then you want to subtract your whole numbers, which is 1. So we're just building on what we know about addition and subtraction and fractions, and we're putting it all together. So bring down the denominator, subtract, subtract, and on addition, bring down the denominator, add, and add, but with this one we have to make sure that we check our fraction and make sure it's a fraction that is not greater than 1. So we got a whole, that's how we change it, and if it's a fraction greater than 1, we use this strategy to change it to a mixed number that is not greater than 1. All right, so we're going to be practicing these today in our Go Math book. So when you come to class today, if you want to have your Go Math book, you can. If not, we'll be just writing it in our notebooks. Oh, code word. I totally forgot today. I don't know. Come to class making a silly face. That way I know you've watched it. I forgot today.